back with us on the Sports Mag Zone. So good to have you on this Thursday, wherever you are watching it. We really appreciate it. We welcome your feedback on our YouTube platform. Good, bad and ugly, we like it all. It proves that you're out there watching. And every one of you, whether a sport expert, just an armchair sports fan, or if you're a dilettante, whatever you are, we really welcome you and your attention to the Sports Mag Zone. All right, let's go now. Former FIFA Vice President Austin Jack Warner remains confident he will successfully fight extradition from his home country of Trinidad and Tobago to the United States of America. But his optimism is ringing hollow after today's devastating ruling by the law lords at the UK-based Privy Council. All 5 law lords who heard Warner's appeal against his extradition were unanimous in their view that he should be extradited to face justice in the USA. The 79-year-old, who has been appealing against his extradition since 2015, is facing a raft of corruption-related charges in the USA, including bribery and racketeering. The case against Warner was built on events which transpired over a 30-year period. It's alleged that Warner solicited and accepted bribes in connection with his official duties, which included the selection of Russia as hosts of the 2018 FIFA World Cup. Pugnacious to the end, Warner digested the ruling of the Privy Council and then issued this statement. He says, "Since receiving the decision of the Privy Council, I have conferred with my lawyers and do wish to state that 1. FIFA is an independent association not affiliated to any government or country. At all times, it sought in the interest of football to offer opportunities to the widest cross-section of the international community to host the World Cup. Particular attention was paid to developing countries who have been denied economic opportunity, partly because for long periods they were under colonial domination." He continues, "Against that background, FIFA gave preference to South Africa, Russia and Qatar to host World Cup finals. Naturally, the United States of America and the United Kingdom, who had previously hosted the World Cup, were not selected despite sustained lobbying. They were therefore not pleased and thereafter began a campaign against FIFA, which resulted in the arrest and prosecution of several executive members of FIFA who had assembled for a meeting in Zurich. I note that several European countries, including France and Switzerland, several Latin American countries, including Brazil, and several African and Middle Eastern countries have refused to extradite citizens. Trinidad and Tobago is therefore an outlier," says Jack Warner. He says, "I have no banking account nor property in the United States. I have not transacted any business there. It is unfathomable how a New York district attorney could commence a prosecution against me based solely on the fact that monies payable to me passed through the American banking system. Furthermore, it is incredulous that allegations of misconduct arising out of a FIFA meeting held in Trinidad could be prosecuted in the United States, whereas in Trinidad itself, it does not constitute criminal activity." He continued, "I continue to have confidence in my team led by Fayad Hussain Senior Counsel, and I have advised them to continue to press my case on the 3 remaining stages of these proceedings. I have lived in this country," says Jack Warner, "for nearly 80 years, and I am confident that I will continue to receive the love, affection, and respect that people from all walks of life have always extended to me. I am certain I will prevail in the end. For the time being, this is all I am prepared to say in this matter," avers the CONCACAF president of the past and the former high-profile, long-standing FIFA vice president, the man who wielded power in that office as FIFA vice president with more effect than any other vice president in FIFA history. So, Mariah, this is what we have. Austin Jack Warner has suffered a setback in that fight to avoid extradition.
Yeah, he's definitely suffered a setback based on the Privy Council ruling today. And, you know, the first thing that comes to mind is he's 79 years of age. And, you know, I start to wonder, you know, if there'll be any sort of leniency based on his age. So maybe this is where you can jump in and just, you know, do you think that would work in his favor? And also the points that he would have listed. He said that he doesn't have any property. I said that at the top of the show. He doesn't have any banking account over there. So he doesn't understand how he can be tried over there.
You know, Jack Warner, I mean, let's start with the issue you raised about the age. It will not be a mitigating factor. It will not be considered because people older than him and around about the same age have been busted on criminal matters in the United States and have been extradited from their homeland to the USA. So age doesn't factor. If you think the greatest, well, one of the greatest Ponzi schemes in the history of the modern world, Bernie Madoff was an old man by the time they caught up with him. And the whole book was thrown at him. If you look at the social activism side, look at the Me Too movement. The filmmaker Harvey Weinstein is not a young man, and he has had the book thrown at him. So age doesn't offer our Jack a shield in these circumstances. You talk about the things he listed, and him saying, "Boy, not owning property." Not having any bank accounts in the USA.
And he also said FIFA is independent.
Yeah, let's deal with the bank account issues first.
Okay.
It's a non-argument because what we've seen in other cases, and law is based on precedent, the injurious thing from the perspective of the U.S. prosecutors, the prosecutors who put the case together, is not whether or not Jack Warner has property in the USA, but whether or not a U.S. bank was used to perpetrate a payment that was fraudulent, the money came from criminal activities, or if a crime was committed and from the commission of the crime using criminal means, the proceeds of the crime are then sent through a U.S. bank to you here. You don't have a U.S. visa, you've never set foot in the USA, you know no American, but the money was wired to you through an American bank. You are in the dock and you are liable to be charged by the U.S. authorities. So that's what they've held on to him. It's back in the day, well, they still call it so, but it's not a foremost charge on the charge books anymore, a wire fraud. So what they're saying is that Jack Warner used the U.S. banking system. That's what their allegation is, that he used the U.S. banking system to perpetrate a fraud, and monies that were gotten by corrupt means or criminal means that accrued to Jack Warner, were paid to Jack Warner. Those monies were sent victimizing and exploiting the system of the U.S. banking architecture, and for that they're moving against him. So that negates his argument, that nullifies his argument about not owning U.S. property, hence not understanding why he is in the dock and why the U.S. Attorney General is prosecuting a case when it is that he has no holdings in the USA.
Yeah, another point also, and I'd like to hear what you think about it. FIFA is an independent association, so that's another point that he's using to defend himself. If
that was the case, and FIFA is an independent organization because FIFA is comprised of all of its members. The members come together and form FIFA, and these are members from every nation that is so recognized to join. So FIFA has a headquarters in Zurich, but FIFA is not a Swiss company. So he's right that FIFA is an international organization. However, how does FIFA transact its business? FIFA uses bank accounts all across the world. It uses bank accounts in the European Union, the European Economic Zone. It uses bank accounts in North America, especially the United States with its strong infrastructure, and Canada, of course. Well, Mexico, I'm sure, because Mexico's banking system is also advanced, to name another North American country, the prominent three. And so FIFA does business not being a nation tied to a state. It does multinational business using the architecture of certain countries. And what the prosecutors are saying is, you used the architecture in one of the FIFA member states, an independent country with sovereign laws and rules, the United States, to perpetrate corruption and to commit fraud and racketeering. Now, the very, very, very serious charges. So that, again, from the perspective of the prosecutors, negates Jack Warner's statement. He's averring that FIFA is an independent nation, body, not tied to any nation, ought not to be subject to U.S. jurisprudence.
You say racketeering, but his comeback is the fact that, they were very fair. They were just a bit more lenient to developing countries. That's why, the World Cup was awarded to countries like Russia and whatnot. And the statement went on to say that, despite constant lobbying from countries like U.S. and U.K., what do you have to say about it?
Look, in many ways I'm sympathetic, but in many ways it doesn't look good. Because here's the thing. There have been several rumors, and U.S. investigations have shown that there was corruption around the award of World Cups. Yeah? And monies have allegedly been paid to people monies have allegedly been paid to federations, yeah, and regions, yeah. The thing is, because of the way these monies were paid, people can't escape the fact that some loopholes, some part of some formal system was exploited for the monies to be paid. And if Jack Warner is saying that we sent the World Cup around the world to spread the World Cup, I agree with that part, which is the part that draws sympathy from me, because if certain people, Mariah, had their own way,
they would hog it.
The US would always be, the World Cup would always be in Europe or the United States.
That.
Always, because they'd always want it. So Jack Warner is saying, no, let us do some affirmative action where the award of the World Cup is concerned. Let us push to the line, just by virtue of the fact that they've been at the line in perpetuity. Let's push to the top of the line for hosting some of the nations and some of the regions in the world that have never had the privilege of hosting a World Cup. So he's saying that it was pure altruism and out of a sense of fairness and to correct historical wrongs, while the likes of South Africa, Russia and Qatar were given the thing. But FIFA is saying, well, the investigators are saying, even if that is so, and even if you're being altruistic, even if you're rooting for the small continents in terms of footballing profile, even if you're putting the underdog to the top of the list, there was corruption afoot in how these countries and these parts of the world got the World Cup. And it's all well and good to be altruistic and trying to stick up for the small man, but you perpetrated crimes in doing so, and that is the business. That's a part of it that the prosecutors are interested in, not the other bit.
Yeah, well, he ended by saying that's all he'll say on the matter. He trusts his attorneys, and of course, he's leaving it in their hands. What do you see happening as we get ready to wrap from here?
It is only one way from here. It's only one way from here. Austin Jack Warner is a man who has done much good for football in the region. The allegations against him are serious, and he'll have to go to the US to face the music there. Whatever the judge and the court decides, that's up to them. Not for us to comment on. But in terms of his extradition, it has always been for me only a matter of time. And the Privy Council's ruling today is the most serious body blow. And from here, it's just a matter of more time before it happens.
All right, George, let's take a quick break and come back. We have a lot more to discuss here on the Sports Max Zone.